When you don't need an answer, there'll be days like this. When you don't need a chance, there'll be days like this. When you don't get betrayed by that old Judas kiss. And I must remember, there'll be days like this.
A decision that took many by surprise as the 19 times champion announced his retirement at the end of the season. But the man who has rewritten the rule book for National Hunt jockeys has had to accept the inevitable. The challenge now for AP will be to fill the void that will be left, as he will no longer be riding winners.
He's done it! What a hero! What a sportsman! What a jockey! 4,000 up for Tony McCoy and Mountain Dunes!
Well, you just could not write it. An absolutely extraordinary ride.
I just thought the time was right. I wanted to hopefully retire while I was champion jockey, and 20 is a good number, and I still enjoy it. I wanted to, hopefully, while I was still riding well, I wanted to go out relatively at the top. Time waits for no man, does it? So it's not going to wait for me.
Full marks. He's a credit to the game. To anybody he deals with, he's a pleasure to have him around, and every day with him is the most enjoyable day.
19 times champion jockey, heading for his 20th title, and in very humble manner, AP McCoy announced yesterday that he will step down from the world of jump racing at the end of the current season, and he joins us this morning on the Weekend Sports Breakfast. Morning, AP.
Morning, AP.
Morning, Georgie. Morning, Mick. You alright?
Yeah, are you?
I'm okay.
You haven't changed your mind?
Do you know what? This is coming to make a laugh. My agent, Dave Roberts, was actually waiting for me when Mr. Mould pulled up, because himself and JP McManus and probably my wife Sinead were the only three people that knew. My family didn't even know I hadn't spoke to them about it. And when I pulled up Mr. Mould, Dave was there, and he said, "Are you okay?" Yeah, I said to him, "It's the right thing, isn't it?" And he went,
"No."
What do you mean? What do you mean? He said, "It's the right thing, isn't it, to retire?" And he said he didn't know how to answer, but so I was having second thoughts even at that point. But no, it's the right thing.
Well, to be fair though, when I watched it, I obviously watching the racing yesterday, and it took me aback. AP, it did. It really surprised me.
Did you mean to do it right then, AP, on the back of a winner?
Yeah, I look, I something that I sort of thought about. That I was asked yesterday by the press when did I first think about it, and I jokingly said 5 years ago. But in some ways, 5 years ago, I had set my benchmark of trying to win the Jockey's Championship 20 times, and that was always in my head. And so in some ways, I had sort of decided then, and then I was very lucky. I had a brilliant start to the season this year. I rode my fastest 50th winner, my fastest 100th winner, and my fastest 150th winner. And I genuinely thought I was going to ride 300 winners this season. And I got injured one day at Worcester, and I dislocated my collarbone and broke two of my ribs and punctured my lung. And I went back riding 3 days after that, thinking that I would, I could keep going, that I couldn't afford to have any days off if I was going to ride 300 winners, and went back riding and had another fall, or I dislocated it again riding one day, and it was just a disaster. So I had to have 3 weeks off, and I think through those 3 weeks I was a bit broken, to be honest, because something that I thought that something not broken physically, it was mentally that I was broken, because I had got to a point in my life where I thought that I could achieve something I tried 20 years to try and achieve, and it was like I was genuinely thinking I was getting better, and then I got injured, and that sort of just took it all away from me. And then I got back into more. I did obviously think it would be even better if I could retire riding 300 winners. But then that kind of, when that happened, the time had sort of come, but I didn't want to announce it until I wanted to make sure I could win the Jockey's Championship first. And in sort of weeks, in the last week or so, when I was getting closer to 200 winners, and I thought about it, and I spoke to JP about it, and I spoke to Dave Roberts, my agent, about it, and I decided that it would be good to announce it was riding my 200th winner, because it's a bit of an achievement, and I wanted to announce it on a high rather than on a downer. And I think it's important that, I think it's, most of all, I wanted to retire while I was champion jockey. That was, and I've spent 20 years of my life trying to chase something I can't ever catch. I can't ever get as good as I want to be. And maybe, maybe I need a break. Maybe I need a break mentally from that.
So it's almost like you broke yourself, really, in regards of setting the goals and targets
even higher.
I mean, 200 winners, AP. I know in racing, in flat racing, for a flat jockey to achieve 200 winners is a massive achievement. National hunt racing, with the amount of falls, fences, hurdles that you jump, is unbelievable. To go 300. Like I said, was that the final straw that basically you thought, whoa, I just can't do it physically?
Yeah, that's when I got injured. That was the problem. But it is. As I said, that's why I wanted to announce it yesterday. It is difficult to write 200 winners. That was my 10th time. Only a handful of people have ever done it before. Peter Scudamore done it, 25 years ago, and Frankie done it, and Jason Weaver did it. There was a few, Pat Edry, Steve Cotton. There was a few flat jockeys have done it. Probably Willie Carson, Lester probably did, but there wasn't. Peter Scudamore was the only jump jockey that has done it. So it is. I'm knowing from how tough it is. I know it's I'm not one to be blowing me on trumpet, but it's not an easy thing to do. You have to try and stay in one piece throughout a whole season, and throughout a lot of that season, you're not actually in one piece. It's kind of a mind over matter thing. But it's something that I'll really, really miss. There's no doubt that I'll really miss it.
I mean, we have jockeys on here who are desperately trying to get to 100 wins in a season, and that will be their target for 10 years. So it's just to put it in perspective. Just out of interest, a couple of years ago you got the Grand National under your belt. You've pretty much been there, done everything. When you look back on a 20-year career as a champion jockey, will you have any regrets at all?
No regrets whatsoever, because I really, really think I really, really overachieved. To be honest, I think there's been as many good jockeys as I've been, So I really look back and think, and again, not in an arrogant way, but I think I overachieved. I think I've done well for myself, because I don't think, I think a lot of, I think a lot of the things I've achieved in my life, it's just been through working hard and the fear that I wasn't ever going to achieve it in the very end. I think that probably kept me going as much as anything. And that's probably what's making me retire, the fear that it might not happen again.
But to stay at the top for that long, what drove you on? What drove you in your head? I mean, I've played a quiz with you and you couldn't get a question right and you was rolling around beating the floor.
Not much of that.
So I know your determination, but what kept you at that top echelon of sport?
First and foremost, I think of any longevity in sport or any walk of life, I think you have to really enjoy what you do. And I've absolutely loved what I've done, and there has been times when it has drove me mad. There's been times when when I've been sitting in a dark room on a Saturday night wondering what was going on and what was going wrong with my life, and everyone else thinking it was flying and it was great. But I've really, really enjoyed what I've done, and I've always thought that I could never get where I wanted to go. I've always been chasing something that I could never catch. So, but anyway, I think the time is right. I think that's the most important thing.
AP, I'm pretty sure that there'll be lots of people who agree. There are not enough superlatives to what you've managed in your career. The big question really first is what do you do next, apart from start eating properly?
Chanel's head in.
Yeah, do Chanel's head in is right, Quinny. That's what Steve McManaman said to me. He said, you think you'll be able to stay in the house, but you won't. So I'm going to get Steve in trouble saying that. But anyway, Victoria will be going mad. But I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I genuinely, it's something I've never thought of, because all I've ever wanted to do is think about being a jockey and riding horses. And I always said that I would never think about what I'm going to do until that day comes. And
hopefully you'll eat a little bit more and stop breaking bones quite so regularly.
Yeah, I'll miss my trips to the hospital and being on first name terms with surgeons that can operate in every part of your body, having them on speed dial, which is not something that, that's something that a lot of things that I'm very grateful for. I had so many good people looking after me over the years. You can't do obviously without the horses, but then you've got the stable lads and all the owners and trainers and the valets who look after you, lads that have driven me all around the country. All the doctors and all the nurses and ambulance people, there's so many people that have made it all possible.
And just for the rest of the season now, because you announced obviously yesterday, I mean, I heard Dave, your agent, Dave Roberts, saying, well, he's busy next week, but obviously there's Cheltenham, there's Aintree, Punchestown. When are you actually going to hang that saddle up?
You know, I actually don't know. Normally that was one of the discussions we had, is that, I'd carry on to the end of the season and then, announce it at the end of the season. And Dave kind of thought it was right that I should. He just said, because it's in junior position, that I think you should do it maybe, a couple of months beforehand, he said. And he said, I just think it's the right thing to do. There was other things that we discussed, whether I wanted to, go out on a winner, whether I wanted to. I honestly don't know when the end will be, but the thing I am sure of is
But you will ride at them big meetings, AP, yeah?
Oh yeah, I'm going to be riding at Cheltenham and Aintree, but after that, I don't know whether it will be the last day of the season or whether it will be before it, or whether I want to retire on a winner, and so I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. We'll get those big meetings out of the way first and then see what happens.
And just out of interest, when you had made your announcement yesterday, because you did say you've been dreading it, you've been dreading making what you call the hardest decision you've ever had to make. When you got off, what was it, Mr. Mole yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When you got off him yesterday, how did you feel? How was the next kind of 5 minutes?
Gutted.
Oh.
Just because, it's something that I said to someone, I would love to just change my name and come back riding, at the beginning of the next season as someone else and carry on minding my own business and having another go at it, but as I said, I think it's important that, I've been lucky to be champion jockey, hopefully for 20 years, and I think it's important to retire at the top with people asking you why not win,
And this game, great level at AP, because the next ride, you fellas first hurdle, and it's almost the sport saying, yeah, okay, he's brilliant, this guy, but don't forget, this is national hunt racing, it still happens. It was unbelievable.
It was a bit of a leveler. It was exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking of people laughing, and I think that's a bit ironic, isn't it? But look, that's part and parcel of the game, and no matter how good you are in life at any sport, there will always be someone better. So that's the way life goes.
And look, sad day for racing, losing you. Sad day for your team as well yesterday, Arsenal.
Oh, you couldn't help it.
Time to go now.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Brilliant. I really appreciate you coming on. And good luck whatever you do after racing. You are a legend. Cheers, AP.
Thanks, man. Bye-bye.
Bless you. AP McCoy.
When you don't need an answer, you'll be days like this. When you don't meet a chancer, you'll be days like this. When you don't get betrayed by that old Judas kiss, and I must remember, there'll be days like this.